Hi, this is Bethany Gagne, founder of the Albany Peace Project, and today I'm here with Kirk Harbinger. And Kirk, you were telling me about how you got introduced, you were so lucky to be introduced to meditation in high school by a teacher?
Yeah. So my senior year, I had he was the guidance counselor at my high school, and he taught us philosophy. So we studied philosophers, pretty interesting. We went on field trips to New York City, to the art museums.
Nice.
Had a great experience. And then he also taught us how to meditate.
Wow.
So I took it a step further into visualization too, into athletics. But the best part of it was just learning how to relax through meditation.
Right.
And so he gave us some nice techniques to work with there. What I noticed was not only was I performing at a higher level.
Right, you were a basketball player?
Basketball,
right.
In particular, because around that time, that's when I was taking the course,
Mm-hmm.
and I could apply it directly to the sport I was in. Not only was I jumping higher,
Mm-hmm.
but I was also shooting better.
Wow.
So two aspects of what we learned, I think the meditation aspect and the visualization.
Mm-hmm.
Meditation allowed me to relax,
Mm-hmm.
and what's interesting about it is you would think that the more you sort of tighten up, the higher you can jump, or the faster you can run.
Mm-hmm.
But it's actually, anyone involved in sports would tell you it's the opposite of that. Even sprinters
Right.
need to be in a very relaxed state
Wow.
before a race, because if they tighten up, they're not going to move their legs as much, nor as fast. So
What a good metaphor for life, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so what I found was the more relaxed I was, the higher I could jump, which is an advantage
Right.
in basketball. And then on the visualization side, I could shoot fairly well,
Mm-hmm.
but when I practiced that, visualizing the ball going through the hoop and sort of what that felt like, I had even greater success.
Wow. And I find it interesting that you attributed it to the meditation, not like doing more laps or working out harder, that you really felt as though this meditation kind of gave you this extra edge.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly part of it is
Yes.
muscle memory.
Yeah, absolutely. Right.
So you train your muscles and
Right.
your body, but I'm not sure what percentage it is
Right,
mind,
exactly.
but it's a lot.
Yeah.
So when you train your mind
Yeah.
with the physical part of it, then you're certainly setting yourself up for success.
Yeah.
So what I was able to do was increase scoring and jump higher.
So Kirk, learning meditation during these formative high school years and knowing that it had such an impact on you, how do you feel as though it's impacted the trajectory of the rest of your life? I know you've been a referee now for 26 years.
Yeah. I mean, so I started refereeing basketball right out of college, which was great. But even before that, I noticed that I was drawn to leadership positions, and not from a sense of power. It was more people just asking me to fill that position. And so in college, had some good experiences as an RA and involved in student government and things like that. But I think once I got out of college, I was drawn to refereeing basketball because I love the sport. But I was also, at that point, I guess, sort of a more natural leader. And so I think being able to come from an experience of calm,
Yeah.
and sort of bringing that presence,
Right.
I think has helped me in not only career, volunteer leadership positions, but also refereeing.
Right. So that ability to kind of detach and slow down experiences, that seems to help you in your business life and in your personal life. You were explaining earlier about how, as a ref, if the ball goes out of bounds, you were talking about, go ahead.
Yeah. What I've noticed is that if there's a really intense game where there's fans screaming and coaches that aren't happy and frustrated and players
Right.
that are getting upset with different things that are happening, if the ball goes out of bounds, I'll simply just take my time before I put it back into play.
Right.
And that smallest of things
Wow.
can actually bring it down enough
Mm.
so that they stick to really just concentrating on playing instead of, getting on the referee's case or being frustrated. And it breeds more success.
And that takes courage, because so many times when something goes wrong, we just want to like rush in and fix it and do something. But to have like all those people kind of their eyes on you, the whole game is contingent on your behavior at that moment, and to have the nerve or the courage to kind of go into a meditative state, be a little bit more relaxed, and go with slow authority, you know. And you're saying that it tends to bring the whole game down, and how that's such a wonderful metaphor for life if we could all practice that.
No doubt. I mean, what's interesting is I often talk to either parents or players and reflect on how, athletics and basketball is, there are a lot of life lessons in that. So I'm making a call, like it or not,
Right.
right or wrong.
No pressure.
And even if it is wrong, okay, life goes on.
Right.
Even if you feel you're dealt a bad hand, life still goes on. And by the way, that's your hand.
Right.
So you do have to move on. And I think it is a life lesson in that you can't always change things. It's very rare that you have influence over things like that. So you've got to find a way to deal with it. Number one, and number two, I think that there are ways that you can handle yourself. In that you can either be frustrated by it, or you can just again move on and focus on your game. Focus on what's most important. What's most important, that one call? Or you performing, making baskets, working with your team, etc. I'll give you one more example. Is when I've also noticed that when coaches, players get frustrated with a referee, they actually, time and time again, get taken off their game because they're focused on something else instead of paying attention to themselves, their team, the coach, etc. And it has a negative effect.
So give me an example of that. What do you mean by they're taken off their game?
So it's really about energy and focus.
Right.
If you're more focused on the referee, which has little to do with your success in a game, maybe some would argue at least a chunk is affected by the referee and the decisions that they make, but I would argue that it's very little. When you focus on that, which is outside of yourself,
your control, it's outside of your
game,
control, outside of your game, okay, now I get it, okay.
Then you're not going to be successful as you could be.
And isn't that what so many times people do? They say, well, I could have done this, but somebody somehow blocked me.
Correct.
And then we're off our game.
Yes.
Because we have no power there. We have power only in staying with ourselves. So when you were talking about when you teach young people who are getting into refereeing and they make a bad call and they realize later on, how do you tell them? Because we all kind of make bad calls in life. We all have maybe decisions that if we could have done a do-over, we'd do something differently. Do you have any, and how this work relates to that, or anything on that?
Yeah, I think that there's two aspects of that. For me, it's just experiential. It's the learning that takes place, where you have success in something. Success breeds success. But maybe you also make a mistake, or fail.
Right.
At something that you do. That's also a learning opportunity.
Often a better learning opportunity,
unfortunately. Well, look at pilots. How many times do they crash the plane before they can actually fly? In the simulator, by the way. Before they actually, do a flight. So. So learning opportunities are on both sides of that. But the other is that I've found that the more you move into something that is challenging or hurts a little bit or uncomfortable, the more you move into that, the more success you'll have.
Oh, talk more about that.
So let's take, on the basketball court, maybe an example. If a coach is very upset with the call that I just made, some people would move away from that and avoid it. I would go across the court and just ignore the fact that they're upset with me and hope that they'll just get over it. Nine times out of 10, if not more, that does not happen. They just get more frustrated and more upset.
Right.
So what you'll find me is I'll go into that situation. I'll actually get closer to them and just a couple things. I think number one, I'm listening.
Right.
So there's that acknowledgement piece.
Yeah.
It brings them down a little bit.
Right.
So we can have, again, more of a conversation and get through and move on.
Yeah.
Than just avoiding and ignoring, and then builds more frustration to them.
Right. So all of these kind of skills kind of teaching us how to stay on our game when we kind of feel like we've lost our game. Stay on our game, and then also kind of to have a presence and courage and confidence enough to go towards challenges and as opposed to kind of shrink away from them.
Absolutely. I think just being more open to situations too. I think the other aspect of my high school experience in meditation was a little bit different than moving into something that we're talking about now, but also having that perspective of being open. And so when I'm on my game, when I'm in that zone, that increases concentration, that increases focus, it increases confidence so that I feel like I can handle any situation that occurs on the court.
Right. That finding that space within, and you're open and ready to respond appropriately. So, thank you so much. I know you've been applying this in business as well, right? All of these metaphors, this space that you cultivated, the detachment that you get in meditation, that ability to kind of survey an environment, all very helpful. The skills of self-awareness is really what we're...
That's what it is.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Kirk. You're going to be doing a meditation for us?
Yes.
Excellent.
Look forward to it.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Kirk, these early experiences of mental rehearsal, meditation, you've...
Yes. Pretty much, that's it.
Yeah.
And so I related that to other sports that I was able to go through in high school too.
Nice. Do I pause here?